Good evening, I am Ansmane Sonyasi and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main local, international and sports news headlines. In a significant and symbolic occasion on Thursday, 58 new members of the National Assembly have sworn the prescribed oath in which they vow to be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of the Gambia in accordance with the supreme law of the land. The Chief Justice of the Gambia, Hassan B. Jallow, has challenged newly appointed High Court judges to execute their mandates and discharge their responsibilities without fear or favor. The Central Bank of the Gambia, in collaboration with the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, on Thursday held a forum to discuss the introduction of a capital market in the Gambia. And in international news, over 300 people have been killed after devastating floods wreaked havoc in and around Durban in South Africa. And in sports news, we visited Mariama Barry, the country's only female boxer, at her training ground to tell us her story. Stay tuned as we bring you more these and other stories. Thanks for joining us once again. We now take a look at the news in detail. In a significant and symbolic occasion on Thursday, 58 new National Assembly members, elected and 5 nominated, have sworn the prescribed oath in which they vow to be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of the Gambia in accordance with the supreme law of the land. The event also saw the election of Fabakary Tombong Jatta and Sidi SK Njai as Speaker and Deputy Speaker respectively. Momo Laminchoy reports.
History is being recorded, marking the swearing-in of the 6th legislature of the Second Republic of the Gambia. This comes after the recently concluded National Assembly election, which sees the victorious candidates now being officially sworn in to assume their legislative mandate. Attending this ceremony are political party supporters, the judiciary, the executive and members of the diplomatic corps. In an electrifying procession, the 53 unnominated National Assembly members filed in the chamber to assume seats representing their respective constituencies. As the position of Speaker is vacant and due to be decided later in the proceedings, the ceremony is presided over by the Chief Justice of the Gambia, Hassan B. Jallow.
This first session of the 6th Assembly is convened in accordance with the proclamation signed by His Excellency the President, pursuant to Section 97, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which provides that the first session after the general election of members of the National Assembly should be convened as directed by His Excellency the President, and he has so directed today, Thursday, the 14th of April, 2022, as the date for the convening of the Assembly.
Preceding the election of Speaker and Deputy Speaker is the announcement of 5 new nominated members from the President as empowered by the Constitution. Mamadou Essese, the Clerk of the Assembly, reads out the list.
In accordance with the power vested in him, His Excellency Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia, has nominated the following as members of the National Assembly, with effect from 12 April 2022. Fabakary Tombong Jatta, Sidi SK Njai, Maimouna Cissé, Kewa Lang Fofana, Fatou K. Jawara, signed by the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service.
Having received the news, a first reaction comes from a re-elected Assembly member, the Namfo Willie East, Swaibu Ture, who raised questions citing procedural requirement for the publication of the list of nominated members.
Very much, Honorable Chief Justice. My question is, I have not seen any gazette which is telling me the members that are nominated. So I have no clue as to who is nominated, because I have not seen any gazette relating to that.
Yes, I've taken note of what you've stated. The clerk has indicated he is in receipt of a communication from His Excellency the President of the Republic indicating the persons he has nominated to the National Assembly. And the clerk is going to read it out.
As spelled out by the Constitution, from among the nominated members emerge the Speaker and Deputy Speaker, positions of which are to be filled in through nomination and a vote in the chamber. National Assembly members for Nyamina and Lower Salem nominated and second Fabakary Tombong Jatta as Speaker of the National Assembly, which he accepts. However, there was drama as unusually the opposition National Assembly members of Brikama North and Fonyi Berefet nominate other nominated members for the Speaker position. Unsurprisingly, these counter-nominations were rejected.
Lord Chief Justice, I rise to nominate Keba Lang Fofana as the Speaker of the National Assembly of the Gambia.
Is Fofana, is it Keba Lang Fofana? Where is he? Do you accept the nomination?
My Lord, I humbly withdraw.
I'm here to nominate Maimuna Sise as the Speaker of the National Assembly for gender equality.
Yes, my Lord.
Do you accept the proposal?
Yes, I humbly decline.
You decline the proposal.
In the absence of a contender, there is no election, and in this case, it paves the way for a veteran former National Assembly member with 20-year-plus experience to be sworn in as the Speaker of the 6th Legislature.
I, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, do swear that I will execute the functions of the office of the Speaker of the National Assembly without fear or favor, affection or ill will, according to the Constitution and other laws of the Gambia. So help me God.
Having been elected, Fabakary Tombong Jatta is sworn in by the Chief Justice before he assumes his role as the presiding officer for the rest of the official ceremony in this important session. Newly sworn-in Speaker Jatta sees his presence at the Assembly as a homecoming with a great responsibility.
We must endeavor to be seen as a moral powerhouse and a beacon of hope for all Gambians. Gambians everywhere are looking up to Parliament and government for the solutions to the problems that confront them on a daily basis. Our people expect us to help fix the economy, provide jobs for the unemployed, improve access and quality of our education, healthcare, and above all, give them hope. This is our mandate as a government and as a parliament. This 6th legislature is for the people of the Gambia, and they want us to be honest, accountable, and responsive to their needs. I ask for cooperation from all and sundry to make our stewardship a success.
Before the swearing in of the new names, the Speaker presides over the election of a Deputy Speaker. Sidi Sar Nango Joswang nominates Sidi Eskenjai for Deputy Speaker, and it was seconded. Sidi Eskenjai accepts the nomination. Once again, the name for Brikama North nominates Keba Lang Fofana for Deputy Speaker, but was again rejected. This effectively qualifies Sidi Eskenjai to be the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly.
The time for proposals has expired, and I declare that nominated member Honorable Sidi Eskenjai has been duly elected as Deputy Speaker.
After the swearing in of the Deputy Speaker, 56 National Assembly members take turns to swear the prescribed oath. This officially marks the beginning of their 5-year legislative mandate, with functions to represent their electorate, legislate and perform oversight on the executive in the best interests of citizens. The National Assembly is now tasked with being the machinery for the much-needed law reforms and to facilitate developments that will reflect and address the common aspirations of every Gambian. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Well, congratulations to the newly sworn-in NAMs. Now, the Chief Justice of the Gambia, Hassan B. Jallow, has challenged the newly appointed judges to execute their mandates and discharge their responsibilities without fear or favor. He was speaking at the introductory ceremony for the newly appointed judges of the High Court on Wednesday, where all 3 also took their oaths of office. Omar P. Jallow has the rest of that story.
At the introductory ceremony and oath of office taking held at the High Court in Banjul, which followed their swearing-in ceremony at State House, the Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow congratulated and welcomed the new appointed judges, telling them that their selection was based on qualities they have manifested in the judicial system of the country, including experience, merit, integrity, and wisdom.
We have no doubt, given their credentials and their past performance, that they'll be living up to their oaths to dispense justice without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that they will try to ensure the expeditious and the fair disposal of matters that come before them.
The Chief Justice assured the newly appointed judges of judicial support always to enable them to discharge their duties and responsibilities for quality dispensation of justice. He challenged them to not make the judiciary a center of frustration caused by a backlog of cases.
We will continue, of course, in the absence of that possibility, to encourage judicial officers of the subordinate courts and to prepare them as well, to encourage them and to prepare them for taking up positions on the superior courts. And for the rest of this year, we will be devoting some attention to that kind of program of preparation of judicial officers of the subordinate courts for consideration for elevation to the High Court.
The Chief Justice further explained that the appointment of the judges clearly demonstrated government's willingness to make the judiciary more homegrown, and that his office will continue to encourage qualified Gambians to serve. Chief Justice Jallow also stated that those appointed as judges in the High Court are individuals with great knowledge and experience, and that he has no doubt that they will deliver as expected.
More than half a century after independence, we cannot continue to rely on technical assistance from friendly countries to service what is an absolutely essential sector of governance, the administration of justice. We have to take the bull by the horns, take up our own responsibilities as citizens, and come up and run the machinery of justice.
On behalf of the newly sworn-in judges, echoing his statement after the swearing-in ceremony at State House, Justice Sirif B. Tabali said they are humbled to be appointed and promise to serve the country.
We are more conscious of the weight of the responsibility of this judicial office than the privilege incidental to it. It is well understood that any successful professional career does not also come without personal sacrifices.
The newly appointed High Court judges are Justice Sirif B. Tabali, Justice CDK Jobate, and Justice Aissatou Jananjai. Taking the oaths of office, all three judges promise they will ensure that justice is delivered in a timely and efficient manner. Reporting for KTV News, I am Omar P. Jallow.
Well, we now take a short commercial break, but the news continues when we return.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Santayala Aluminium. Security is key when it comes to a household. Visit Santayala Aluminium and Glass store today and experience our high-level security doors in different sizes, such as 120 centimeters, 160 centimeters, and 96 centimeters heavy-duty, both single and double doors from China, Japan, and Turkey. We also manufacture aluminium profiles for sliding doors and windows of different qualities. Not only that, we have window accessories and glasses of different types, such as blue glass, brown glass, and black glass. For your office setup, we also do office glass partition. We are located at Tabokoto along the Brikama Highway, or call us on 390-3495 or 990-3495 or 790-3495. At Santayala Aluminium and Glass Store, we aim at reaching the highest possible standards of quality.
The Board of Directors of the GCCI has today confirmed Mrs. Sarata Konate as the CEO of the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mrs. Konate worked with the GCCI for the past 2 decades, racing through the ranks over the years. She is the first female CEO in the 55 years existence of the GCCI. Welcome back from that commercial break. Be reminded you're watching QTV News and we're coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Now, the Central Bank of the Gambia, in collaboration with the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, on Thursday held a forum to discuss the introduction of a capital market in the Gambia to encourage and boost business and the economy. More in this report by Jibintu Drame.
Where buyers and sellers indulge in trade for financial securities like stock and bonds. The trading is undertaken by participants including individuals and institutions and is mostly in long-term securities. Idris Amas Job, the president of the GCCI, applauds the governor of the central bank for reviving talks for the realization of this long-standing project, which will help boost the Gambia's economy.
The government is supposed to be the regulator, but they're going to help the private sector in the setting up of the market. Equity funding is always easier than getting funding from the banks. Well, if you have a brilliant idea, people can come in and buy 5% of your shares, 10%. So it's always favorable, especially to the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises.
Moving from the conventional banking system to a more current and vibrant trade will enable many small businesses to earn money to become large companies, which will create thousands of jobs and provide a good or service that consumers value. Mr. Job hopes the project will be implemented and more institutions and individuals will endorse the project.
Really depends on transparency. Companies that are going to be floated in the stock exchange must be properly audited and their books will be available in the public domain. So that would be the major constraint. Most of the Gambian enterprises are not used to having their accounts audited. But the stock market actually is always conflicted with treasury bills. Most of the Gambians that have excess liquidity are giving that liquidity to the banks as deposit or giving it to the central bank in the forms of treasury bill. Now they have an alternative to use that money, and that's why we were discussing with the central bank that it will be conflicting for them. At the same time, trying to promote their own bonds, and at the same time, trying to get people to invest in private companies.
Bua Seidi, the governor of the central bank, says the implementation of the capital market is expected by the end of June this year.
We intend to have a series of activities, sensitizations, and meeting stakeholders like this meeting we are having here. And we are working on also by next month having a training for both public sector officials and also private businesses.
Mr. Seidi gives an assurance that the implementation of the capital market will be inclusive.
We intend to have an economic free zone in the Gambia, an industrial park, some sort of a development finance institution that will be there to also support the capital market in terms of making available financing that could be patient and wait for medium to long-term financing, meaning 5, 10, 15, 20, up to 25 years and beyond.
Capital markets help channel resources to create a healthy national and global economy. They provide essential funding that affects people's life in many ways, or which can provide investment opportunities for people planning for their future. The most common example of a capital market is a stock exchange, such as Nasdaq, which provides a platform for the trading of shares from different companies amongst investors. Achibintu Drame, QTV News.
Now, coming up next, we have international news in a moment. Now, over 300 people have been killed after devastating floods wreaked havoc in and around Durban in South Africa. On a visit to the stricken city, President Cyril Ramaphosa described the devastation as a catastrophe of enormous proportions. More in this report. South African authorities say this is one of the worst weather storms in the country's history, after some areas saw months' worth of rainfall in one day. Mudslides have trapped people under buildings, with more floods expected. Helicopters are being used to rescue people, but the operation is being hampered by poor visibility. Describing the disaster as a force of nature, President Cyril Ramaphosa has pledged to support the victims, saying even though your hearts are in pain, we are here for you. Some analysts have blamed poor drainage and badly built houses in low-lying areas for the high death toll. This has been denied by the mayor of Durban, Holisi Kaunda. Some of the roads have been seriously affected, making them unusable after the swollen river washed mud and debris onto the roads. Operations at the port of Durban have been suspended, and a shipping container warehouse near a busy highway was severely flooded and hundreds of containers washed away. Several cars were also overturned on the road or crossed by debris. Electricity and water plants, telecommunications infrastructure and networks have also been affected and disrupted. There is also a hunt for 12 crocodiles that were washed away from a Crocodile Creek farm. In a statement on Facebook, the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government estimates that billions of rand worth of damage has been caused to properties and infrastructure. Amidst the havoc and tragedy, there are also reports of looting in Durban, which the local government has condemned. The government is calling on people to avoid flooded areas and bridges and evacuate to higher ground. The torrential rains and flooding came as scientists warned that climate change is fueling heavier rainfall than usual in southern Africa. Although the rain in the region stopped on Tuesday, officials were still trying to assess the extent of the massive human and infrastructure toll as rescue crews searched through the muddy hillsides for the missing. Anspaneto Nyansi for KTV News. Our prayers and thoughts are with the people of South Africa during these trying times. And next we have some exciting sports news. Now, significant changes have occurred globally in recent decades when it comes to the participation of women in combat sports such as boxing. However, it seems the Gambia is yet to see these changes bear fruit, as the country only has one female boxer. Well, QTV's Jennifer Sonko visited Mariama Barry at her training ground, and she takes us through her story.
Mariama Barry of Nema in the West Coast region is currently the only female boxer in the Gambia. Mariama started with Kung Fu and later developed an interest in boxing. She joined the Gambia Police Force Boxing Club, which is well structured and enables her to participate in international competitions. Mariama derives her motivation from American boxer Clarissa Maria Shields, one of the most decorated boxers in boxing history. Shields is a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a three-weight world champion, and the first boxer in either male or female category to be undisputed champion in 2 divisions in the 4-belt era. Research shows there have been huge changes in women's combat sports in the last 2 decades, which reflects a change in society's opinion of women in boxing in many countries. However, is that the case in the Gambia with only one female boxer?
I've started doing boxing because, every time I normally watch on YouTube, so I normally see the females, what they are doing, and I've liked it a lot. So I say, let me try this and see. Because I was doing sport in general, so I said, let me join boxing because, I'm used to the training already.
Women in combat sports have many barriers and discomforting experiences because of their gender, which can include verbal and physical abuse, sexual violence and harassment, lack of opportunities, and a lack of financial investment. Mariama is currently battling all these challenges and more.
Even hiding it. Since I was doing sport, I was hiding it. So, because it's not easy, They think every woman should not do sport, especially boxing or kung fu. So I don't know what's the reason of that. But for me, I like doing.
Mariama's coach, Babukar Jana, explains what her passion for boxing and consistency mean to him.
Mariama motivates me, and it's so easy to train someone who have passion and believes in what they are doing. Even though she gets bullied, she still believes in what she does. Mariama is always on time for her training sessions. This shows discipline, and she will go far.
Mariama's lack of female counterparts and thus competition in the Gambia are among her major drawbacks. That being said, what are Mariama's next steps?
I want to see the Gambia flag, in terms of boxing, the flag high.
Reporting for QTV News, I am Jennifer Sonko.
Quite an inspiring story there, and we wish you all the best of luck, Mariama. And I'm afraid that is all about it for this bulletin. But before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for main headlines. In a significant and symbolic occasion on Thursday, 58 new members of the National Assembly have sworn the prescribed oath in which they vow to be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of the Gambia in accordance with the supreme law of the land. The Chief Justice of the Gambia, Hassan B. Jallow, has challenged the newly appointed High Court judges to execute their mandates and discharge their responsibilities without fear or favor. The Central Bank of the Gambia, in collaboration with the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, on Thursday held a forum to discuss the introduction of a capital market in the Gambia. And in international news, over 300 people have been killed after devastating floods wreaked havoc in and around Durban in South Africa. And in sports news, we visited Mariama Barry, the country's only female boxer, at her training ground to tell us her story. That is all for this bulletin. On behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching. Do join us tomorrow for more news.